Hi guys, Bran here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today I wanted to talk about the idea that a lot of people don't seem to play DBD for the horror aspect, because I feel like that's something that people harp on a lot. It's like, you know, DBD is a horror game anytime there's anything like super sweaty or super weird or super goofy like the swimsuit sets. Everybody's like, well, this is supposed to be a horror game, and this is really, really dumb. And I feel like as much as I am a big boy horror fan, I have a lot of horror stuff. I have a big Godzilla poster over here, which is more of like monster kaiju stuff, but it's vaguely like monster movie stuff. Oh, I gotta follow. Yo, Wayno, thank you. Wayno the Insano, thank you so much for the follow. Anyways, that's funny. I have a replica of Michael Myers' knife over here on the wall. I probably can't show that because YouTube will probably be like, oh, you're showing weapons on our videos. But I do have a replica of that over here. Obviously you've seen me wear different like Michael Myers and stuff shirts as well. I have a lot of stuff like that. I love horror movies, and the reason I'm into DBD is because of its horror aesthetic. But you'd be surprised the idea that like most people play this game and kind of just really don't have an interest in any of the horror IPs or the horror aesthetics or anything like that. Like they just kind of just don't care. And it's something that I pulled a really, really long time ago, and I couldn't find the community poll for it. But or maybe I asked it on Twitter. Maybe that's why I couldn't find it. Maybe it was something I pulled on Twitter. I didn't even think about that till right now. But yeah, I asked how many people like actually like watched and enjoyed horror movies and played DBD at the same time, and it was like 70-30. 70% of the people that I polled didn't even like actually enjoy horror movies that much, and just played DBD just because of DBD. And that's wild to me, because like the game is baked into its soul, this horror aesthetic. It's literally like a slasher horror game at its core. And you know, and the fact that like so many people just have no interest in that genre, so many people have zero interest in those movies and that aesthetic and whatever you want to call it. It's like, that's crazy to me. But the more I thought about it, the more it kind of made sense to me. And it ties back to this idea that a lot of people hate about the game, is that it's a really easy game. Like, it's a really, really easy game. And I know that, like, at a high MMR, this game gets pretty brutal at times. Trust me, I understand. You know, you don't need to correct me on that. I already hear you on the keyboard. I know the game's actually hard. But that's like at a high MMR. Most people play at low to mid MMR. That's where most of the player's population is, where the game is not that intense. The game for them is quite literally approach a gen and press a button. And it's even a toggle now, so you don't even have to hold the button, and then hit spacebar every once in a while. And then you get to play like freeze tag. Like you get to play freeze tag with this guy, because once the killer arrives, chases you off, and then you just run off, you spin around in circles around this pallet and eventually drop it, or you get hit. You know, like the game at its core is incredibly simple. And that's something that like we lament as like higher skill players that have been playing the game for a long time, that consistently sit at high MR. We lament this idea that the game is so simple, but is that why it's successful? Is that why people are interested in this game despite not necessarily being into its aesthetics? Is that like a lot of people play it and it's not hard to learn. Like you could literally play this game forever and never master anything. I really believe that with my whole chest. I think you could play this game forever and literally never master anything about it, and you will be just fine. You will get to mid MMR, you'll probably stagnate at a mid MMR, but you'll just sit there and you can still play the game just like anybody else can. And like, and on the killer side of things, you're literally just like, unless you play really complicated killers like Billy, like Huntress, like Nurse, all these characters that have like a pretty big, now Dredge, like a bigger skill curve. Like if you just play like Trapper, you can literally play Trapper until you're blue in the face. You can play Myers until you're blue in the face. These characters don't have a lot that you necessarily need to learn to be good at them and to play them consistently. You can just turn on the game, set your traps down, and call it a day, right? Like the game is ridiculously simple for both sides. And I think that's like its main appeal. I feel like that's why this game like outlasts other games. Like if we're taking like VHS, for example, which is going to be DBD's biggest competitor, mostly because of the fact that it's going to be quite literally free. That's a big aspect. Like VHS is like, you got to kill it with 4 stigmas, and you got to build a weapon, and then there's like 3 weapons you got to build, and then there's mods for the weapons, and then you can't really run from the monster. You have to crouch. You got to be hidden. You got to dash around corners. Like all this stuff is like so like it's a lot. It's a lot, you know, and that's like the base game, right? Like that's not like higher skill, because there's already a higher skill for VHS. Just look into the Twitch category and see how cracked people already are at that game. Like that all that you need to do just to be able to play the game at its base. right? At its most simple. DBD is literally approach a gen and press a button. And then every once in a while press a second button. Like, it's that easy. It's that simple. And I feel like that's in reality where DBD succeeds and why DBD outlasts other games and why you don't even need to necessarily be into horror to even enjoy the game, because it's so simple. It's so simple. At its core, it is an incredibly simple game, and it kind of just dresses itself up in a way that makes it seem like it's not, which is really, really crazy. And I feel like that really gives the game a long-lasting effect and a perseverance that other games don't have, is that you don't need to be good at video games or to understand strong mechanics or even be into the genre the game is based on. The formula is so darn simple and so basic and generic that you really don't need a whole lot to just play this game and get invested in this game and play it nonstop over and over and over and over and over again. And that's wild to me. And I think it's like secretly kind of genius if you really think about it, because like I said, I feel like a lot of us at high MMR kind of lament how simple the game is and how easy it is to do a lot of the skillful things in the game. But in reality, that's kind of what keeps the game solid, is that it's very, very easily accessible and easy to get invested in without having to be like a godlike player. So yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's why I think that DBD has a lot of players that aren't too necessarily interested in horror, and why DBD seems to outlast and persevere through a lot of challenges is because the game is so simple and easy to understand and easy to get into that you don't necessarily need to be in the genre or even be good at the game or grind the game to even get enjoyment out of it. So it will always continue to persevere, even if the idea is that, like, you know, you may not necessarily be interested in getting good or may not necessarily be even interested in horror at all. You can just pick up the game and play, and that's why it continues to be as strong and prominent as it is. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me. Hopefully I'll see you in tomorrow's video, but if I do not, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.